Greetings everyone, my name is Dr. Jason Freeman. I'd like to welcome you all to my channel. In this video, I'm going to give you the 5 things you need to do when preparing to go to England. Now at any point, feel free to click the notification bell or subscribe to my channel to get more content. So without further ado, let's begin. Now, number 5 on my list in regards to things you need to get done or do before you go to England is to get a power converter. So here I have what's called a travel adapter converter. The power outlets in England are different than what you have here in the United States. And so you have to be able to convert from the English power outlets to your American or to the product you have, which normally has an American adapter. So what I did is I went out and got this one. This was $23 on Amazon. And so this covers not just England. Let me go get that open. I'll probably edit this part out. So this covers not just England, also covers Europe. And I think there's some other countries too. I have to look up where they are. But basically this allows me to use my computer, charge my phone, any electronic while I am traveling. So the first time I ran into this issue was I was going to Germany in 2013. This is my first time traveling to another country as part of a conference. And so when I was in the Munich airport, about to go to Leipzig where the conference was, I realized I couldn't use my laptop. I had to do this because it was like the day before the conference was just about to start. And so I needed to do one last thing. And I realized I can't plug my computer anywhere here. So I actually going to a place in the airport. I want to say it cost me like 50, 60 bucks. And I had to get converters that covered all these other places. Now, thankfully, the converters at that time, this was again 2013. Thankfully, when I went to England and Ireland and Belgium later that year, I was able to use the different ones that I had. But the idea is that basically, I was, had I not been able to get those converters, I wouldn't have been able to get ready for that conference. And so this is what I just pulled out of this box. So unboxing, my first unboxing. And so basically, open this up, and it's an adapter. And I'll show you video clips as well. So you kind of see what it looks like in just kind of how it looks like in action. But basically, all these things. So it has EU, UK, and Australia, USA, and so all those work. And so let's see. Let me pull. All right. So this is the American one. This is the EU, and this one goes back in. The American doesn't want to go back in, Australia. And then if I can get the British one out, and this is the British one, the British, so UK one. So anywhere in the UK you can use this. And I remember getting, when I got my German one, which is the EU one, I remember this one being in there too, and I did use that when I was in the UK. So one thing for this one in particular, the Epica, not a sponsor by the way. This Epica one, there's a little button on the side here. And so when you push that button in, you can push in and out. The EU one actually worked without it. The EU one I didn't require it, so that was pretty cool. But there's a little button, and so with this, and again, I'll have some video clips from it. Basically, what you probably will seeing right now is it has multiple outlets, multiple little cords, and so you can plug in basically everything that you have to it. So you have to get this before you travel. And again, I would get one like this one. This is 23 bucks, and that covers EU, Australia, and then the UK one, which is you go in England, you're gonna need that UK one. But if you end up in a layover in a different place like Ireland, which is part of the EU, you're gonna need the EU adapter for that. So number 4 on my list is any hard currency that you have, like dollars, quarters, whatever money that you actually keep on you, convert those to, if you're going to UK, British currency, like pounds, for example. Now you can do this in the country, and the first time I traveled to England, I ended up doing it at the airport. But if I'm not mistaken, from what I've been reading, is that the exchange rates or the cost to do that, the fees are worse when you're there compared to doing it here. So what I would actually advise is, assuming you have a bank account, go to your bank and seeing, first you want to see what currency do they have available. And if they have currency available, then go ahead and convert any hard money that you want to take with you. And you should have some hard money on you when you're traveling anywhere. Make sure the hard currency that you have on you, you can convert that to the money that where you're going. In this case, you're going to England, into British pounds. Now, you can also do this online as well. So you can go to your whatever your bank is, and you can kind of look for currency exchange. You can call or what have you. But basically, I would say you want to go ahead and do that here, do that in the United States. You make sure you have it on you when you get to the country. But also, I believe the exchange rates and the fees are better in country in the USA compared to when you get there in regards to kind of how much it actually costs to convert your money over. So number 3 on the list is to get an international calling plan before you travel. Now, I've been caught with this on a couple different occasions, on really, actually a couple different occasions. So when traveling to Germany for the first time, I was not aware of this at all. And so in that case, I actually just used my phone in my room when I was at the hotel. I don't remember how much that ultimately cost, but I had a cell phone, but at that time I just used my phone in my room, my phone, and I know there's a charge with that, so I did that. That was back in 2013. I would not advise doing that, especially if you're traveling around the country. The other time was the first time I was in England, or really in Ireland. Then I realized I couldn't really call anybody, couldn't make calls, so I had to actually go ahead and get a calling plan then. So what I would advise you to do now is before you go is to kind of look at different options. So I am filming this on an iPhone, and so I have an Apple and I have AT&T on my Apple phone. And so before I leave, I will go and look at the plans and look at what's available, and I will get a calling plan so that when I'm in England, I will be able to make calls based on that plan. I've done that for Canada as well. So Canada's the same thing. I get there, and that's one of the things that caught me. I was going to Vancouver with my wife, and I got there and I realized, oh yeah, my phone doesn't work because it's across the border. And so I had to get again, kind of last minute thing. So do that ahead of time. Most recently, again, I had to do calls from actually the Bahamas. I was there in April. So again, make sure get a calling plan before, so that especially if you're traveling, your mom, your dad, siblings, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, whoever is kind of back at home, they're gonna want to hear from you. So make sure you get that calling plan ahead of time. So number 2 on my list is to dress appropriately for the weather in England. Now, one thing that I've been kind of looking at, and I've been to England before, and one thing I do remember is that you do want to dress in layers, meaning that the temperature does change fairly quickly, significantly over like the day, for example. And especially so next time I'll be going will be in January with my study abroad course. So I'm going to be having at least a good warm jacket, something to put on my head. I tend to like to shave my head. So something go on here. And basically when, as the temperature changes, depending on what it is, I'll be able to take the jacket off, what have you. So basically wear layers while you're there. So again, if as the temperature does change across the day, you don't want to like dress like you're going to like the Arctic or whatever, but have a nice jacket that you can take off if it gets warmer while you're there. The other thing is you want to make sure. So one of the big misconceptions about England is that it does rain all the time. It does rain there, just like everywhere else. But one thing I will take is I would say take a small travel umbrella. So I put an image, basically like a little tiny umbrella. And so I remember when I was went to Belgium, actually, ended up kind of getting caught. So I ended up getting one of the little tiny travel ones that was easy to pack. So just get a little tiny travel umbrella that you can easily pack in your stuff and take with you wherever you go while you're there. So one thing I was actually looking up before I did this video so one thing they said is a good giveaway you're a tourist is to wear it like if you have a ball cap on. And I generally do like to wear something on my head, like a ball cap or something when I'm out. So if I do get a ball cap, I'm going to get like one that's from a team in England. I don't want to look like a tourist, though. It's probably going to be almost inevitable. But again, try not to stick out too much in regards to while you're there. But yeah, get some layers, get something that I would say get like an umbrella, Again, for me, I like to put something on my head just because, especially like going places that might be a little windier or what have you. I know that we're going to be going to the Clifton Bridge in Bristol. And so I want to make sure that, I'm prepared for that wind while I'm there. The other thing I would also advise is, so one thing is like jeans are kind of just fine and normal, just kind of dress casual. But if you want to go to a nicer restaurant, carry at least one formal thing with you so that you can kind of put on for like a more formal upscale. And that would be the same thing in the US as well if you wanted to go. But definitely for my study abroad course, we're going to be going to the theater. We're going to try to maybe do some nicer restaurants. So I have at least one like formal thing to wear while you're there. It doesn't have to be like, a gown or anything or like a three-piece suit, but just something that's a little bit more than just kind of casual hanging out clothes while you're there. So dress appropriately. And last but not least, my number one thing that you have to get done, literally have to get done before you go, is to get your passport. I didn't want to put this first. I didn't want to go through 1 through 5 just because this is one of those things that generally most people get dealt with well ahead of time. So for most people, I don't think this is even needed. I definitely, one of the first thing I did before I traveled for the first time back in 2013 internationally was to get my passport. But make sure that you get it and make sure it's updated. So that's the other thing. So mine actually expires next year, but expires late enough into the year that I should be fine going in January. But it's one of those things, I did check the date, so I do know it's going to expire after I get back from England. And I will have to get it renewed. But again, make sure that if you don't have one, obviously, if you want to travel, get your passport. And I say that kind of emphatically is because it takes time. You can get expedited, but even expedited is going to take a couple weeks to get it done. You don't want to wait till the last minute because otherwise, if you don't have a passport, you can't leave the country. And so make sure that you get your passport well enough ahead of time. Now, for my study abroad course, if you guys are watching this, I know I'm going to send this to you all. With our course, the deadline is, so I'm filming this the weekend of the deadline. So my deadline is Friday of this week. Saturday of this week. So, if you're seeing this next week when I'm posting this, just go ahead and go immediately, start right now to get your passport, to make sure you have enough time, especially now, with the travel season, people are making sure that they're, getting all that dealt with. So it may take some time. So make sure that you're getting that done ASAP, as soon as possible. Again, make sure it's renewed. So if you have a passport, go and look at it, make sure that it's been renewed. Make sure that you get it, get that thing renewed and ready to travel. Now I know, yeah. So it's one of those things. It's a necessity, and so that's why I put it number one on the list. You have to do this. So I would say even before you get those other things, go make sure, check on your passport. Assume you don't have one. Assume you have one. Make sure your date is not expired. It's not going to expire before you travel or during while you're gone. Because if it's expires while you're gone, it's still the same issue. So I have to usually get back. But it's one of those things is that if you don't have one, like right now, when you're seeing this, assuming this isn't like 2 days before the trip, hopefully you've looked at it before then. Make sure that you go and get that process started with the hopes that you can get it done. Now, you can do it. So if you're waiting until the last minute, you don't want to go somewhere. And so there's these different facilities, and I'll put a thing on the screen. I'll put it here, where you can actually go, the place you can go to get your passport, basically. Go somewhere and get your passport. I got my passport in a post office in Burlington, North Carolina, in 2013. So you can go, post offices also have those as well. We can actually go and get your passport. That's where I got mine at the post office. But basically, go get it as far ahead of travel as right now as possible. Because you don't want to be right before travel realizing, oh yeah, I can't go because I don't have a passport. So, all right. So if any of that was useful to you, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Also, feel free to share this video with anyone who you know is about to travel, whether it be England or anywhere else. Thank you all and have a wonderful rest of your day.